Welcome to Soul on Fire, where we're going to ignite the passion within. Hey guys, my name is Noelle Agape, and I am a leading expert in health, wellness, and consciousness. And today I want to talk to you about the beautiful energy of your heart's energy. We're going to go deep, deep, deep into your heart space. We're going to love, right? That's what we're going to do. So I want to welcome everybody that's joining us. Thank you so much. Thank you for everyone that's joining on the replay. We appreciate you being here. Today, I want to talk so much about the frequency of unconditional love and what that looks like. We want to talk about your heart space and how that actually emanates out to the world and what you do. So guys, you're in for a super, super great treat. Hi, Aline, how are you? You're in for such a great treat today, because today at the end, so stay through the end, because I am going to do a heart center meditation. I'm going to expand your heart space to the greatest and highest good and move you to a different place. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about love, because love is, especially in today's society, right guys? Today's society, there's so much hate and there's so much going on, and there is so many things that are happening in today's society today. And so what we have to do is we have to take a step back and really analyze and figure out what's going on within us, right? Because so often what happens is we get caught up in the media, we get caught up in the hype, we get caught up in the anger, we get caught up in the frustration and the emotions of things. And we actually are not living in our heart space and the frequency of unconditional love. We're living at literally the lower vibrations of the planet. And so you guys know that I'm an NLP trainer and a quantum energy trainer. And what I do is we train people in the quantum fields, and we train people about their mind, and we do mind hacking with them to get rid of their limiting beliefs. And so many people have so many belief systems around love. And so their belief systems around love is really what's going to allow them to emanate out what type of relationship they're going to bring into their life, right? And so if you're feeling like, very, very heavy often in your heart space, that's really truly when you have to do the inner work. When you're sad, when you're depressed, when you're anxious, when, everything comes from fear. The majority of things that are not a higher vibration are usually on the lower end of fear. And so today we're going to talk about a few things to open up your heart space. We're going to definitely tap you into some things that may feel a little bit weird for you because you've never really experienced them. And so what we're going to do is we're going to actually expand your heart space later on in the show. I'm going to do a heart-centered meditation. But today, when you are living in a very heavy energy, right? We are all energy. Everything that we do is energy. Everything that we emanate out is energy. And so when you're not in your heart space, how it looks is you can have a lot of failed relationships. You can have a very abusive relationship with others. You cannot be in your power. When you're in your heart space, you are living in your power. You are giving and receiving love. You are in narcissistic energies or very taking energies, or the other, you're in avoidance, right? And you're scared to be in a relationship. It's very scary. So how that looks very often when people are not living from their heart space is they're either very, very detached, and sometimes they can be very abusive. Sometimes they could be verbally abusive or emotionally abusive. And really our heart space is our center to our soul. And that's, I'm going to go super deep later on in the meditation today. But our heart space is our center to our soul. And so if you're not connected to your heart, you're actually not connected to your soul. And so the vibration of your heart is the highest vibration on the planet, because it's unconditional love when your heart is in balance. And when it is in balance, it looks like you have beautiful relationships in your life. And again, not just intimate relationships, but all of the relationships in your life are beautiful, and you communicate well with people, and you connect, and you love connecting with people. You don't have a fear of intimacy, and fear of intimacy and abandonment are two of probably the biggest things that I work with people. And so, so often what many don't understand is that we don't have to keep going back and healing our childhood wounds over and over again, because often we were, many of us were wounded between the age of 0 and 10. And when we were wounded between the age of 0 and 10, that actually really puts a wall around our heart, an emotional wall around our heart. So we don't love in the same way that we would if we expanded our heart. And so many people, what they do is they work on, healing the blocks and going in and understanding and all of this childhood trauma, which is wonderful and amazing that you could go and heal that, because that is such an important component. But you can't stop there, guys. You have to work within the actually belief systems of what's going on, right? And so if you were, abandoned by your child, or your parents were divorced, or you had abuse, or any trauma happened between 0 and 10, there really is a space around your heart that it is in a way hardened by the emotions and energy. And so when that happens, it truly allows you not to connect to you. And so I say all the time that, I'm a health and wellness counselor, and I know the body, and there's three different brains in our body. And it's our regular brain, which is, functioning, and it's our ego, and it's moving past the ego. And then it's our gut, which is, that truly allows the biochemistry to be alkaline and set in your body. And then there's the heart space, right? And so your heart space is truly when you are in joy, when you are in love, when you connect to the world. And your heart space actually is the highest vibrations. It's more than your brain, and it's more than your stomach. And so many say that what you think becomes your reality, and actually what you're emanating from your heart becomes your reality, because it is 8,000 times more powerful than your brainwaves. And so again, that's just energy. And so what this looks like if you're in a situation where you've had a lot of trouble in relationships, and you can't really give and receive love. You can't open up to a space where you feel like you can invite love in, right? Many people can give love and overgive many times too when they have a closed heart space. And so your heart frequency is probably the most important connection that you have to anything going on in your body. And I say that, and that's a very big statement, but it's very true. Because if you're not connected to your deep heart centered, right, and you're not expanding that energy out and to a capacity of truly receiving love, right? How often does someone compliment you and you throw the compliment right back at them, right? Or how often are you in a relationship and you get triggered and you instantly go to anger, or you instantly go to I'm out, and you cut out of the relationship? It's these little tiny things that allow you to understand that your heart is closed, right? And so I just invite you all now to say one thing to yourself. Ask yourself this one thing, how am I with communication? How am I with intimacy? How am I with connection with people, and deep connection, not just surface connection, but deep, intimate connections? Do I allow myself to get to that level? Do I see somebody as a prize, or do I see somebody as a soul, and do I connect to their soul? And our entire purpose, guys, here on this planet is for expansion and for connection. And those are our two entire things. And yes, we get to expand from healing our childhood wounds, but we don't have to live in that, right? Yes, things happen to us and we were victimized, but we are not the victim. And we get to emanate this beautiful frequency of unconditional love. And so I want to talk a little bit about the unconditional love and what that looks like, right? Unconditional love is not by any means when somebody walks all over you and then you decide to stay and continue to love and continue to give them anyway. It's actually having enough love for yourself that you're like, okay, I love you and I honor you where you're at, and I'm actually not going to tolerate that in any way. And so boundaries are such a huge component of unconditional love that so many people, literally so many people, actually disconnect from, because what they do is that they think that they're giving so much, right? And they're not getting anything in return. So they're actually putting themselves back into victim energies when they're doing that. And so, relationships are so complex as it is, but when you go into your heart center, when you're tapped into your heart's energy, when your heart is open for expansion, that's when you can actually allow love in, and you can actually receive the love that we're all supposed to have. And again, it starts with you. And so the heart's frequency really is the greatest gift that we have is self-love. And self-love is connecting to God, source, the universe, a greatest higher version of yourself, whatever you guys believe it to be. There's always, always, always a better version of yourself out there, right? And so people say all the time, they're like, Noelle, well, how do I tap into my heart's energy? How do I even know what's going on with regarding relationships? Look at what's going on around you, right? Are you in a beautiful, healthy relationship? Can you communicate your heart openly? Do you feel that if you communicate, you get scared, you put yourself in fear, you put yourself in anger or anxiety? Many of the things that are going on in your heart is a limiting belief of, I'm not worthy for love. I'm not good enough to have this person. I'm not safe, secure, and protected. And many times, if you were abused as a child, that happens within your heart space as well. I'm not whole and complete, meaning like I'm looking for an external love, and something outside of me or someone outside of me is going to make me happy. But really, truly, guys, the whole point of the heart space is truly self-love, and finding that self-love within you, finding that heart space and that connection, that beautiful connection. And I'm sure every single one of you guys have had this at some point, where I just want you to, for a minute now, take a moment and just put your hands on your heart and close your eyes. And we're not going to meditate yet. We're going to meditate at the end of the show. But I want you just to feel your heartbeat. That is your life. That is what is coming through. I want you just to feel into that. Hi, Helene. Hi, Carol. Thank you for coming on. So feel into your heart space. Float your eyes closed and move your energy from your head down to your heart for a second. And just make that connection, guys. Take a deep breath in and feel that. I want you to ask yourself, when you're in your heart space, am I safe right now to love? Am I worthy of love? Am I good enough for love? See, guys, when you are in the frequency, which is literally anything above 500 hertz and above of love, you are in this beautiful highest frequencies of the planet. And when you're in the highest frequencies of the planet, that's what you emanate out into the world. And so I'm so happy that you found your self-love, Carol. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Those of you that are on, just ask me any questions with regard to, your heart space and relationships and love and moving from anger and hurt and fear and anxiety to actually being secure. And so there are different types of relationship types that you have. The first is avoidant, where you're afraid to love and you're afraid to put yourself in that heart space, right? So the first thing that happens, you bail, right? And you're just like, okay, this is scaring me way too much. Your inner child gets triggered. And what happens often in that sense, when your inner child gets triggered, you run back actually to being an inner child. And so that is the avoidance. And then there is the person that is anxious, right? And so if someone is not loving them, or they're not responding, or they're not moving in the direction that you want to be moving, you get super anxious. So you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to check my phone 1,000 times. Oh my gosh, I'm going to call them 1,000 times. Oh my gosh, I'm really, really like obsessing over the person. And then the final is secure, right? When you're secure in your space, in your heart space, and you're secure in you and who you are, you can honestly, you're going to get triggered because we're human. You are going to get upset because you're human. That's just life. But guys, what happens often is that when you're insecure, you will have that fight, or you will have that aggravation because you're human, but you will move through it very, very quickly. And then as soon as when I get upset, and I do this for a living for 17 years, guys, I'm a counselor, I'm an NLP trainer, I'm a quantum, so I do all of it, right? And what happens, I take a minute, right? Because I'm a very powerful personality, meaning that like I love from my soul. Like I pour into love. And with that highest vibration of love comes the highest vibration of other stuff too, right? Anger. And so when I drop down from the highs to the low, what happens very quickly is I'll get out into nature. I'll explore. The more you spend time in nature, guys, the more your heart center will open, the more it will raise your frequency. I promise you that. The more you are in a healthy relationship with yourself, with others, with other people, you will truly, truly open up your heart space. And you can literally expand your heart space as we're sitting here. You know, it's connecting to your breath, going outside, doing something you love, finding something you love. One of the most important things that I can teach you today, guys, is that it never comes from outside source. So even if you get triggered, which will happen, right? It never comes from an outside source. So stop. Learn the lesson that it's teaching you, because it's showing up in your vibrational field because it's teaching you a lesson, right? It's saying, oh, hey, right now you're actually not honoring who you are as a person. And so this person's not honoring you because you're not honoring yourself as a person, right? And so often we look at the other person and we're like, you're doing this to me. And no one is ever doing anything to you. You're actually allowing it, right? So when you drop back into your heart space, you could understand and see it from a different perspective and say, oh, wow, well, this person was triggered because that he or she was hurt and or acting from anger or upset. And I have some work to do because it showed up in my fields as well. And so what happens when you move to that space is you get a chance to be the observer and not be emotionally connected to it. So when you're not emotionally connected to the story or the problem, it allows you to drop back into your heart space and find out what's really going on in your heart space, right? And so that's when I invite you to look and say, you know, when you get triggered, when something is bothering you, I invite you to say, oh, hey, what is this teaching me? What can I learn from this? It's time to connect to me, and I love you and I honor you, but I'm going to go and I'm going to take a minute. And it's okay to take a minute, guys, because that's honoring who you are. And the greatest step from there is truly moving into forgiveness. And forgiveness is never about the other person. I'm going to say that again. Forgiveness is never about the other person. Forgiveness is about truly you being at peace with you. And so Vishen from Mind Valley, who's amazing and incredible, he says all the time that radical forgiveness, right? You move into radical forgiveness in your heart space and you expand to a completely different person. And so radical forgiveness is really when you actually you go back and you revisit the situation that was hurt you, whether it was you go back to your inner child and you have a conversation with your inner child and you heal your inner child and you reparent yourself, right? That's the first step is you have to reparent yourself and say, if I were actually my 6-year-old's mother, how would I be treating the 6-year-old, right? Because your inner child has something to say, but you can't stay in that space, right? You have to literally find out what's going on, and then you invite that energy and your highest self in, and then you literally, from that space, you say, okay, well, I'm done with this, and I'm done with this lesson, and thank you for showing me that I am worthy of love. Thank you for showing me that it is safe to love, right? And it's okay if others are not where you are, and you have to honor people where they are, because so many times in relationships, you expand and you open your heart and you want somebody else to open up their heart, and they're not ready to do that, or they have their own inner work to do, right? So you go back in and you literally, have a conversation with your inner child. You find out what needs to be healed. You heal your inner child, but then you bring that energy back into your heart. And then from there, you look at the situation as an observer and you go through radical forgiveness. And radical forgiveness is actually observing the situation and saying, what was this person thinking when this happened, right? And so again, this didn't happen to me. This happened with me to teach me a lesson. What was going on with this person when that happened? Was it that they were abused themselves? Was it that they had a really rough childhood? Was it that they are just not in a place in life to open up their heart, right? And so from that space, it allows you to see without the emotional attachment. It allows you to connect to people on a different level. Then go back from there. And I want you to literally Forgive yourself for allowing it to happen. And everyone's like, wait, what? Noelle, you want me to forgive myself for something that happened to me? Yes, because in some way you invited that in. And everyone's like, wait, how would I invite abuse in? How would I mean, even on the highest level, I have never been, I've always been open that my childhood, I was sexually abused as a childhood and physically abused, and as an adult. And so, I went through the journey of the abusive relationship, not feeling safe in love, right? And that was a very slippery road because it was very hard for me to be in a situation where I could trust people to actually love. And so I had to forgive myself for things that I had to go through all of my past, literally everything that I've ever experienced in love. And I had to heal that. And again, I'm never perfect. I still get triggered, but it goes through me much, much faster, right? Meaning that I could be upset and then within 15 to 20 minutes, or maybe even 24 hours, depending upon how big it is, I'm not focusing on that anymore because I can get to a place of forgiveness. I can get to a place of understanding that this all happened for a reason to get me to a higher version of myself, right? And so when you're love unconditionally, agape love, right? When you have unconditional agape love for all mankind, you understand that there's a greater and higher good. And I know that there's so much going on in society right now that so many people say, I can't love this person because they actually hurt another person. You can actually heal this situation within your heart space, that vibration. You can change the vibration. You can literally have that power to change the vibration. We get to change the world by working with us. We get to change the world by working within our heart space, right? And everyone thinks, oh my gosh, I'm going to go out and change the world, which please do. Yes, we need it now more than ever. But I invite you to start in a different place than going out to change the world. I invite you to actually look inside and look inside your heart and find out where you have anger, where you have fear, where you have sadness, where you have guilt or shame of something that you have done that is unhealed. Because I promise you, the more that you heal you, you are actually healing the world when you heal you. And so many people get it wrong where it's always about them, right? Where it's like, I am hurt. I feel angry. I feel this. And stop. Go into your heart space. Put your hands on your heart and drop from your head to your heart. Think about what's going on with that person. It might, if from not a victim point of view, right? I know that is so hard and I'm asking such a big thing, but the only way through all of this, guys, is expansion. It is never to go back and keep healing the blocks and healing. And I have this block, and so many people are teaching mindset now. And what they're missing is the missing component of mindset is that you don't go back and just heal and constantly have blocks. And that's just staying in the vibration of struggle, right? And you don't want to do that. What you want to do is you want to live in the vibration of expansion. So you have to start with you. Expansion, it never comes from anybody else. It never comes from anybody else. And I'm going to say that again. Expansion never comes from anybody else. It comes from you. Nobody is going to heal you. No one is going to rescue you. No one is going to take care of you unless you take care of you and you heal you and you rescue you. The greatest thing that you can do for yourself and everyone that is surrounding you in your life is to be a higher version of you every day. How do you do that? You will literally take a deep breath in and you stop and you don't go into the victim mode. So many people are in the victim mode, especially in today's society. It's, he said, she said, and anger and hurt, and it's causing death and it's causing all this mass destruction. If we stopped and we just went within and actually focused on the inner problem within us, it would change the dynamics of the world. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you that love always wins. I promise you the light always beats the dark. I promise you that if you go into your heart space and you remove the walls that are blocking you from being a greater version of yourself, and you love and you honor yourself, I promise you that is the first step. It is not going to change overnight, but together we are the change, guys. I am inviting you to look within your heart. I'm inviting you to look within your soul and say, oh my gosh, How can I be the change? I get to be the change because I get to show up as a better version of me every single day. Meaning what? Meaning I'm taking care of myself and my emotions. I'm taking care of my body and my, and my mind. I am taking care of me so I can take care of the rest of the world. And those of you that, think that someone or something is going to make you happy, that is never, it's just a false sense of reality. What's going on is biochemically is the oxytocin and the serotonin and the dopamine that's getting shot up when you feel in love and you fall in love and then you crash so hard at the other end. There's a law of polarity that's always going to be there. The highs and the highs and the highs that you're reaching during that shots of dopamine, you're always going to reach the lows too, right? The law of polarity is just science. Nothing is good or bad. It really, truly just is. And so if you look at it from that space, this is going to be a hard show for many people to watch because it's doing a reality check of, oh, hey, I am actually not a victim. I was the one that did something wrong. I was the one that actually allowed this to happen. And again, I was sexually abused at 6 years old. And I can say that firmly, that at some way, space, or form, at a 6-year-old mind, I didn't know what I was doing. As an adult, I completely understand and have boundaries now, but I didn't have boundaries back then. Why? Because I was seeking love from an outside source that I wasn't getting from my, abusive, addictive father. And so no one that is abused is seeking love ever, 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 ever. People that are abused, and they are victimized, and terrible things happen in the world. People are dying. People are abused. People are, there are people that are stealing children. So there are really dark things happening in this world. And we can only control us. We can only control what's going on inside of us. And if we think for a minute that we can do anything else other than heal ourselves, we're completely in our ego. And that is really going to be hard for people to hear and hard for people to understand. But I just need you to hear this. I need you to take a minute and know that you're not here to rescue anyone. You're not here to enable anyone. You're not here to do that. What you're here to do is open up your heart space and do what you can in the physical world once you're in a healed space. But you, as a broken person coming out into the physical world, is not healing anybody. It is not serving anybody in any way, shape, or form. What it is actually doing, it is vibrating out that magnetic field of hate and anger and fear. And so if you live a conscious life, you heal what's going on within you. And not as, hey, I'm going to show up as the hero because I need it for my ego. But hey, I'm actually going to go help kids. Or hey, I actually am in a good place. Think about every post that you read. Think about every post that you post. Think about every action that you do. And I want to invite you to ask you, is that coming from my ego? Is it coming from my soul? Right? Because what part of you needs the drama? Right? And that is a huge, the drama circle is a huge part of the broken masculine and the broken feminine, right? So I'm going to talk a little bit about the broken feminine and the broken masculine and how that looks in the heart space, because I go deep into the broken feminine and the broken masculine in my quantum immersions. And so the broken feminine, and all of us have feminine and masculine energies within us, right? We all have energies within us that are feminine and masculine. I'm not talking about a broken man or a broken woman. I'm talking about the broken masculine and the broken feminine, right? And so how does that look? How does that show up? The broken masculine is very, very aggressive. The broken masculine is the dominant force. The broken masculine is actually someone that has to put down someone else because they need to feel better. That's the broken masculine, right? And so how does the sacred masculine and the divine masculine look? It looks like someone that is honoring you and themselves, someone that is protecting you and themselves, but they're doing it in a loving, kind, glorious way. Not I'm protecting you because I'm in the victim and I'm going to be in my ego. Well, not in any way, shape, or form. They are protecting you because that's the masculine energies, right? And so it's honor, it's strength, it's ambition, it's motivation. That's how the beautiful sacred masculine looks. And so the divine feminine and the wounded feminine are so prevalent in our society right now. So the broken masculine is showing up everywhere in society right now, right? I'm better than you, and I'm this is better, and my muscles are bigger than your muscles. And what we need to do is soften that, right? And we need to say, how as a collective can we change this? How can we go into our heart space, heal our heart space, and how can we actually change the world from that space? And so the broken feminine is very, very needy, very anxious, very much like codependent. That really is the broken feminine. And so what that looks like is truly, again, not masculine and feminine, man, woman. Everybody has those energies within us. But the divine feminine within you looks so beautiful and so powerful. The divine feminine is really, that's the space that we're moving into. We're moving into the age of Aquarius, which is really the divine feminine. And this is, the divine feminine looks like a woman who is creative, a woman who is beautiful and flows through life, a woman who has the ideas and expansion, a woman who is in her heart space and comfortable in her heart space, a woman who is confident enough in herself that she doesn't need that. It doesn't even, I shouldn't say woman, the energies of being confident in yourself, right? Knowing, and it's intuition, trusting your intuition and trusting your emotions, feeling comfortable with love, being in love with love, being in love with life, being in love with the beauty of life. That is the divine feminine, right? And so it seriously is one of the most beautiful gifts when you tap into the masculine and the feminine energies and their merge, because that's moving into your heart space, right? And so guys, when you're in your heart space, you get to heal everything that's gone on in the past, but you cannot stop there. When you heal, that's great. But if you're continuing in the healing energy and continually moving blocks out of your life, you are stuck in the struggle energy once again. So I'm going to invite you in just a little bit. We're going to do a very, very brief meditation to allow you to connect to your heart, to feel that heart. I just want you to feel what comes up when I do this meditation for you. Again, you're going to feel some things. Sometimes, you may feel very tingly. Sometimes you may fall asleep. If you're driving, do not listen to this now. Please just watch it back on the replay. But this is a great opportunity for you to connect to your heart. And I would probably even go to say that there's so many people on this earth that don't even know how to connect to their heart, right? They think because they have sex, they're in love. Or they think that because somebody tells them that they're beautiful or somebody's kind to them, that they're in love with that person. 90% of the planet doesn't even know what unconditional love truly is. Unconditional love is literally loving yourself first and foremost, and honoring yourself first and foremost, and loving everyone as a human, and then emanating that vibration out into the world. And guys, I know that was a lot and it was super heavy, but today I just felt super called to come on here and talk about it and say, I love you. I love you so, so much. And I mean, those of you that know me, I love from my soul, and I always love you regardless of the circumstances. And I own me. Like, if I hurt someone, I apologize. If I did something wrong to someone, I apologize. And I go back and I actually apologize to myself as well, right? So your conscious effort in this world is to understand that it's bigger than you. It is bigger than you. It is bigger than you. And I made a post the other day. I'm getting emotional, right? Because I'm allowing myself to be vulnerable. And that's what the next level is vulnerability. Once you have gotten to radical forgiveness and you've able to heal that, you get to be vulnerable, right? You get to live in a space where you can cry and it's okay. So many times in society, men are taught to not cry. Women are taught to be stronger. Women are, we got this, let's go. And we're in this society that doesn't feel anymore, right? We have cut off our emotions so deep in the society. So vulnerability is the final step, right? To moving into your heart space. And when you are vulnerable and when you allow love, because it's scary, right? Oh my gosh, I love you. Are they going to love me back? Or no, I love you because I love you. And I love me enough to know that I have boundaries and I could still love you, right? And it never comes from an external source. The vulnerability of love is so beautiful and so pure, and people are so afraid of it so often. If you go into the vulnerability of unconditional love, of the vibration of unconditional love, you're exposed. And it's a scary, scary, scary place. And people may turn you down. People may hurt you. People may look at you and call you or physically hurt you, emotionally hurt you. They may strike. But you are this powerful force within you that if they strike, you give that energy back to them and say, I love you, and here's my boundary. And it's really hard to come to that space when there's so much hate and anger, right? But you have to do the inner work to get to vulnerability. I promise you, it is shadow work. It is not fun. It is this journey that can wreck your soul, but you are more powerful than that. And through your pain is always your purpose. So whatever you have gone through in your life, I didn't talk about my sexual abuse until I was an adult. And now I'm speaking to millions because my voice is changing the lives of others. But I didn't have a voice for so long. Through your pain is your purpose. Figure out what happened to you. Understand that that was a lesson that your life and your soul is saying, okay, let's learn from this. And now we'll heal it. We'll move on. We'll forgive it. We'll be vulnerable enough to love again and move out of that space and move into unconditional love. I promise you that is the key to connecting to your heart space. So guys, what I invite you to do now is just a really quick meditation where you can take a deep breath in and just drop your eyes closed, move your hands from your head and put your hands on your heart so you actually feel your heart. Take a deep breath in. Move your energy in your mind's eye from literally your head down into your heart. What is your heart telling you? Is it telling you to expand? Is it telling you you're afraid? Are you fearful? Are you angry? It's okay. I want you to feel everything that your heart is feeling right now. Take a deep breath in. Move your energy into your heart and have a conversation with yourself, maybe for the first time in your entire life. And forgive all of the people that have ever hurt you, including yourself. In this moment right now, take a deep breath in. And with me from this space, just move that energy out of your heart as if you were moving from a different house. It's no longer serving you. Removing everything that ever was attached to it in any way, any attachments, any dysfunction, allowing that space right now to feel it in every way, shape, or form. Imagine a bubble outside of your heart. I want you just to dump all of that stuff that's going on inside your heart, the fear, the hurt, the anxiety, everything and everyone that has ever hurt you. Dump it into that circle outside, that bubble that is outside of your heart. Take a deep breath in and know you are safe enough to do it. You're safe enough to let go of all of this pain right now. As you see that bubble filling and filling and filling with all of the anger that was in your heart, or the fear or the frustration that was in your heart, I want you to now imagine that there's a cord from your heart to the bubble. And I want you to pull that cord out just as if you were literally pulling a plug out of the wall. Throw that cord into that bubble. Take a deep breath in and out. And now one more deep breath in. And with the external breath, I want you to push that bubble to the edge of the universe. Watch it pop open. into pixie dust if you like, or dissolve. Taking a deep breath in. From this space, I want you to think about something or someone that brings you so much joy. Could be your dog, your child, your love of your life, mountain biking, hiking, surfing, whatever brings you joy. Find that vibration of love. Take a deep breath in and feel that vibration of love emanating out throughout every cell of your body. It is moving through your entire chakra system, and now it is moving through your aura, which is your energetic fields. And now I want you to push it out from your heart and expand it out to the world. That beautiful feeling of love is expanding and expanding and expanding. Take a deep breath in. Now go even further and go deeper into your heart space, and I want you to expand that out into the entire universe. Just feel the universal support, the universal love, the universal gift of love. Bring that energy from the universe into the earth, into your state, or wherever you may be, into your home, and back into your heart. Taking a deep breath in and knowing you are loved, you are safe, you are powerful, you are secure, you are protected, you are loved and you are lovable, and you are so beyond worthy and beyond good enough to receive this love right now. Feeling a golden light just pouring over you as a shower of golden light emanates out to the world, through you, through every cell of your being. Taking a deep breath in, understanding and feeling that energy of unconditional love. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Take a deep breath in. You may need some water. You may need to sit down. You may be extremely emotional right now. What I invite you to do from this point on, guys, is have a relationship with you and yourself. Have a relationship with your heart. I invite you to start meditating, even if it's for 5 to 10 minutes a day. I meditate for an hour in the morning and then an hour at night. I invite you to start exploring how you were in the victim. I invite you to start exploring how you can heal your past, but move past it and not stay in that energy. I invite you to see yourself not as a victim, but being victorious in every way possible. I invite you to have radical forgiveness of all that has ever hurt you. Energetically, we just moved the energy into your heart. And physically and biochemically, we literally just changed the chemicals in your brain. You can do that as often as you like because we have the access to us. We're so connected on the highest level if you allow it. Guys, this is the most greatest gift that you can ever learn, is that you are connected. You are love. You are powerful. You are a gift to this world. And those of you that know me know that I haven't had an easy journey, guys. And so I am not some, yes, I live in bubbles and unicorns because I love life. I love jumping off a cliff. I love love. I embrace life in every sense of the word with all of my senses. But those of you that know me also know that I have gone through massive, massive, massive darkness to get here. Through the dark is always the light. If you allow the light to win, I promise you it will. I promise you, love always wins. I promise you the vibration of you and your heart, and when you connect to your heart center, you become a different, more powerful magnetic being. I promise you that in this moment, that you said yes to you for this 1 hour, that you said yes to you, you have shifted your energy. You continue to do this. It will build momentum. And the more momentum that you're building in the vibration of love is the more that you are going to emanate that out. And that is when you get to call in your soulmate. That is when you get to be with your soulmate and have the relationship that you want. That is when you actually get to love you at the highest level. That's when you bring in abundance. That is when you bring in life and joy and happiness, because it comes from you. There is no external source in any way except God, source, the universe, and you. And you get to call in your life. You get to have the best life ever. You get to live at the highest version of you. You get to open up your heart. You get to love, because you are love. You are powerful. You are strength. You are the divine masculine and you are the divine feminine combined in one. And I promise you that when you say yes to that, your life will shift. I'm going to answer some questions now. Please, guys, I mean, this is a perfect opportunity now. I'm going to do a quick Q&A, and then we're going to wrap things up. But I love you guys so, so much. I am proud of you for actually stepping into your heart space, because it is not an easy space to be in. Your heart space is probably one of the hardest things that you can do, because your shadows are there, and so is the light. But through the dark is always the light, right? So a couple people had some questions. Let's look and see. So one question says, how do you know when it's safe to love? Oh my gosh, I'm going to cry from that question. Thank you for asking that. I don't know who that is, but thank you. How do you know when it's safe for love? You don't, right? You just jump, and you're vulnerable enough to know and understand that loving is okay. You will get hurt, and it's okay. You're not guaranteed anything in this life, but the one thing you are guaranteed is that if you love yourself, you're in a secure position, not an anxious or a avoidant position. And so try it. Try love. Try experimenting with being vulnerable. Some people will love you and some people will not. And you have to be okay with people not loving you. That's how you feel safe in love. When you get to a point where you're okay with people not loving you, right? Here's one. How to stay away from people that are have so much anger. Oh my gosh, Helene, that's a great question. So really, we get to make a choice, right? We have a toxic relationship with someone because we're inviting that relationship in, right? And so if someone has a tremendous amount of anger, you can love on them. One thing that you can do on the higher end, Helene, I know that you meditate and you read, you can go into a meditation and actually have an energetic conversation with them and heal your energy within you. And once you heal the energy within you, it actually heals the energy with the other person as well. So that's one step. The other thing that you can do is truly, you have to set boundaries and you have to decide, hey, is this person taking from me? Is this person toxic in my life? And you have to honor where they are. You're never trying to fix somebody. You're never trying to enable someone. You can guide them and love them, but never be taken advantage of. And also, you have to have boundaries within you, but do the inner work within you, Helene, and it start there. Start with your heart center, start with your heart space, start with your intention on healing the energy. You never want to go into a meditation or the heart space where you're going to you want to fix someone, guys, because that's just really that they're broken and you're going to fix them. And that's never going to be the case. In a relationship that is not in a healthy environment, in a balanced masculine and feminine, what you got to do is maybe just take a minute and work on yourself, right? That's the best thing that you can do. And then Helene, you said, Noelle's going to bring me a part of me that I haven't seen before. Yeah, I do promise you that if you go into your heart space, guys, you will tap into things that you have never seen before. You will start to experience things that you've never experienced before. And you will get tested because your subconscious will also say, oh, whoa, we're being vulnerable, super vulnerable right here. Vulnerability is not a safe place for us, where we don't feel good in vulnerability, right? And so you have to move through that, guys. You have to get through to the point where you feel comfortable and vulnerable enough to love. I mean, I have gone through pretty crazy things, and I've been in relationships that weren't so wonderful, and then I've been in relationships that were wonderful that ended as well. But you have to literally, it's never about the other person. Again, the vulnerability is never about the other person. They may not receive your vulnerability. You could only receive your vulnerability. So here's another question. I don't know who that's from either, but So the question is, can we tell more about the broken masculine? Oh, yeah. I could talk hours about the broken masculine. So the broken masculine truly is, it's a very aggressive energy, right? And that's Helene, actually ties back to Helene's question. So I'm glad that you asked that. Thank you. The broken masculine is the anger, right? The broken masculine is, or the wounded masculine. It is a part within you and a part within them that is wounded, right? And so how do you heal it? You go back and you have a conversation with your inner child. The wounded masculine, the wounded feminine is always your inner child work that you have to do, for sure, for sure. The divine feminine and the divine masculine are always standing in their power. It's always, not in a very childish way, right? And so anger is, it's your inner child, and that needs to be healed. It is the wounded masculine, and the opposite of anger is joy, right? And so if you get through that, that's how it brings you joy. So I do have another question that says, how do I learn to receive without giving so much? Oh my goodness, that's such a good question. So if you're an overgiver, then you're in the wounded feminine, actually. And so often people don't understand because they think that they're giving love like crazy, right? And that goes, if you're giving love like crazy and you're not receiving back, then you are in the wounded feminine. And again, do go back and do the inner child work, but ask yourself why. Do you not feel worthy of love? Do you not feel good enough? Do you not feel safe? I mean, there's a reason why you're not receiving. And there's also thinking that it's something external, meaning that if I give them so much love, they're going to give me back love, right? You have to just give from your soul and know that sometimes people will love you and sometimes they won't, and you have to be comfortable in that space. So yeah, I mean, it looks like, oh, I love this. I'd love to receive this, Noelle. Oh, thank you, beautiful. Helene, you are so beautiful and you are so light. You have such a gift to bring to this world. Just tap into your energy. Thank you for honoring you and honoring all that you are every day. You're so beautiful. And what does this one say? I'd like to ask, why do I avoid people who tend to knock me down? Oh, that's such a great question. Thank you for asking that, Carol. I love you, by the way. So when you go into avoidance, it's because you're scared. So really, if the people are knocking you down, meaning hopefully it's not physically. If it's physically, absolutely walk away. Even if it's emotionally, you should be walking away, but your boundaries are not there. You have to understand why you're not in a space of being confident and secure and loving from a place of security as opposed to insecurity. And I hope that answered your question, Carol. If it didn't, just let me know. But the reason why you allow that to happen is because that's the boundary that you haven't set. So you have to set deeper boundaries within yourself. If people are not treating you properly, guys, it is 100% your responsibility. So you should, it's hard not to react when we get triggered, really hard not to react when we get triggered. But often what you should do is take a minute and go back within. And when you do get triggered, apologize. But that doesn't mean that you have to invite that energy or behavior back into your life. I hope that made sense, Carol. Is there any more questions? It looks like we have all of the questions answered. So guys, I just want to stop for a minute and I want to tell you how powerful you are. Your heart space is the most beautiful, sacred space that you have. You have this gift of life. You have life force energy inside of you, right? Nature is inside of you. And my staple saying all the time is an acorn never says, oh my gosh, I don't think I can be an oak tree. I'm really scared to be an oak tree. I got to grow. I have to grow. Guys, the key to your heart space is expansion. Again, do the inner work because that is such an important component, but the key to it is expansion. You expand your heart space out. You heal what's going on. You have radical forgiveness. You go into vulnerability and you allow yourself to love again. You open up space for something new. Love is the highest vibration on the planet. Right now, we need you more than ever. I'm calling all angels. I'm calling all of you to step up and look inside your heart. I'm calling all of you to look within you. See where you fear. See where you have anger, where you have hurt. Guys, That needs to be healed within you before our society can be good with anything else. I promise you, I promise you, I promise you, I am doing the work. I promise you that I am doing all that I can as a humanitarian to love and send love and light out into the world. I understand that there is big things happening in this world, and it starts with you. Go within you and find out what's going on. Why is there anger? Why is there hurt? Why is there sadness within you? What is triggering these anxieties? And the moment that you say yes to that is the moment that you begin to change the world. So it is our responsibility. We are here on purpose. There is nobody on this planet that is not here on purpose, guys. We are here on purpose. Find that purpose. Find that motivation within your heart space. The only thing that is going out into your reality is everything that is going on within you. Take a minute, write down if you have to, go for a walk if you have to, pet your dog. Do what you need to do to find love again. Because I promise you, love always wins. And guys, I just want to thank you so much for showing up. I want to thank you so much for those of you that are watching this now and those of you that are watching this on replay. This is such an important message. And for those of you, if it resonated with you, please like it, share it, and subscribe it, because we need to get unconditional love out to this world. We are love. We are light. We are powerful. We are gifts to this world. And when you know how powerful you are, that is when the change begins to happen. Guys, I love you, and together we are the change. Take care, guys. I will see you soon.